Hey everybody, Claire here, and today I am making one of my absolute favorite desserts in the world, cheesecake. I love cheesecake. I feel like everybody, well, I don't know, there's some people who don't like cheesecake, but I don't really want to know you people because this is delicious. Anyway, but no, I love cheesecake. It's so creamy and rich and dense, and then there's that sort of lovely saltiness that happens when you have the crust. It's just absolutely delicious. And so today I have it's like a basic cheesecake with a couple of twists. I'm making a salted caramel pretzel cheesecake. So for the cheesecake itself, I have 3/4 cup of sugar, I have 3/4 cup of sour cream, I have a 1/2 cup of salted caramel, and I showed you how to make that in another video. I then have 5 room temperature eggs, 1.5 pounds of cream cheese, and then I have 1.5 cups of heavy cream. If you look at this ratio, it's kind of different than most cheesecakes, and the reason is because there's a lot of eggs and a lot of cream in sort of ratio to the cream cheese. Most cheesecakes are really heavy on the cream cheese, but I love this recipe because it just makes it so kind of custardy and just really rich and amazing. And this is actually a modified recipe inspired by one of my favorite vintage cookbooks. I actually have it here. It's called The Glow of Candlelight by Patricia Murphy. Also, #goals. I would love for my next cookbook to have this as a cover. Like, I want an oil painting of me in a ball gown surrounded by my prize-winning orchids. I don't know how to describe her other than just your classic like hostess with the mostest, pearls, twin set, kind of intimidating, but she's hilarious, and her cheesecake recipe caught my eye immediately because I noticed all the eggs and the cream and I thought that was super cool. And so for the crust, I actually kept it pretty simple. It's just a 1/2 cup of sugar, 6 ounces of butter, and then I have a cup of basically finely ground salted pretzels. I like to use the mini pretzels because just is easier. And then a cup of graham crackers. So first I'm gonna make the crust, and I'm just gonna pop all of these ingredients in and then mix them together until they form a really kind of nice dough. I'm just gonna pour this straight in, and I'm using a springform pan. This is about, I think, like a 9-inch springform. Cheesecake is not a cake that you can flip over. It's a cake that you literally have to be able to take the bottom out, so I always make it in a springform pan. And so to prep it, it's super simple. I'm just gonna press it down until it's really even. So this is good to go, so I'm gonna set this aside and get started on the filling. So for the filling, it's pretty simple. I'm just gonna mix everything together a little at a time. So I'm first starting with my 1.5 pounds of cream cheese, and it's really important it's room temperature. It makes a huge difference in terms of the texture. And then I'm gonna add the sugar, and then I'm gonna start adding 1 egg at a time. So this is egg 1. I'm gonna add the next egg. You wanna do 1 at a time because otherwise you kind of end up overworking it a little bit, and because this is dairy, you don't want it to get curdled or anything like that. Beautiful. This looks gorgeous. I love that just pale yellow color. So I'm gonna add a little bit of cream at a time while I mix, and then I'll basically have the base of my cake finished. Well, it looks beautiful, and I have my oven preheated to 325. So the way I'm gonna bake this is I'm actually gonna bake the cheesecake for 1 hour at 325 in the center of the oven, and then I'm just gonna turn the oven off and let it sit in the hot oven for another hour. Cheesecake is out of the oven. Boom. This is why I love a springform pan. So first things first, you can sometimes get cracks in the top of your cheesecake, which is not ideal. But I do love the idea of covering it with a little bit of sour cream and the salted caramel. I'm gonna first pour the sour cream on top. I'm just gonna spread it over, and you can see that it becomes a super duper thin layer. It's not like this thick coating of sour cream. So next I'm gonna add the salted caramel. And the way I'm gonna do this is I'm actually just gonna pour it kind of around the edges first, sort of into a swirl. And then I'm just gonna kind of let it fall off the sides a tiny bit, just to get some really pretty drips. And then I have just a little stick here. You can use a toothpick if you want. And I am just gonna play around with swirling everything together. And then for the finishing touch, just so everybody knows that it is a pretzel salted caramel cheesecake, I'm gonna put little pretzels all around the edge. This looks so beautiful. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to have a slice. Moment of truth, time for a bite. This is so delicious because it's pretty simple. It's just sweet, salty, and very, very creamy and rich. And The texture is just the best. I'm really, really obsessed with this cake. So I kind of feel like silently eating this for a few minutes. But anyway, on that note, I'm just gonna say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know if there's any other desserts you guys wanna see me make. Are you like obsessed with finding out how to make a souffle, how to make bread pudding? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.